Alright, it is Master Chicken Nugget 6-piece back at it again. Alright, Konami has done some really weird things in the course of time, but not putting Ash Blossom in the Megatons, that is... So, I'm going to talk about how I think Konami has potentially ruined the Megatons, and how Shadows of Valhalla needed Ash Blossom to sell that fucking garbage ass set. So here's the thing, I'm going to be the first one to tell you, I'm not extremely disappointed in them reprinting Ash Blossom, not in the Megatons. I think the fact that Firewall, Borolo, Dragon, Saruja, these super sought after boss monsters, they're great. But if you put too much candy in one pot, your other, piece of shit set you're trying to make over here in the corner is gonna sell. So let's be honest and call it what it is. Konami needed to fucking do this to, make Valhalla more desirable. And, there's not without saying that they couldn't spice in the pot a little bit and reprint Ash Blossom in both sets. God, you know how fucking crazy that'd be? They reprint Ash as a super short print super, and then they dump that shit in the Megatons too. It's like, by the way, you get all the candy. You get an Ash Blossom, you get an Ash Blossom, you get an Ash Blossom. To me, that would be insane. Now, that's without saying, you can still have your cake and eat it sometimes. Maybe the way that they're approaching the Ash Blossom reprint would just be double down and call it a day, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Now, in the terms of Valhalla, we've seen the set, it's looking great, it's fucking amazing, and then you read Mischief of the Time Goddess. Now, I'm sure you've all read Mischief of the Time Goddess by this stage in the game, and you're like, oh boy, Valkyrie support! And then you're like, oh boy, Valkyries only! Fucking... And then you're like, fuck! My Valkyrie deck! Golden Castle of Strongberg at least had a couple of things going for it. It sped up the Invoker making process. And then you've got Valkyrie Brunhilde over here, barely struggling to be a tier 1 deck. So, before you all experience this mass disappointment with me, we knew this was gonna happen. We knew that this was gonna... There's so much news that came out of the weekend. Let's be real. I'm not surprised that they made Mischief of the Time Goddess the way they did. I'm pretty sure I mentioned and said how they balance it was they make it, Valkyrie specific. And Konami did just that. You can't release a card in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! That says, you get 2 battle phases, and, allow it to be generic. That's not how this shit works. They gave it searchability, which was cool. I think the sisters, for their potential effects, I'm going to be curious to see where those go. But that's for another tale. So back to Ash Blossom here. When you look at Valhalla, you've got Shadal reprints, you've got Azathoth. God, I can't believe. If you've also not been on the internet the last couple of days, ever since Azathoth came out, there are so many memes with just Azathoth fusing with a thought, the whole name change thing. The internet really has gotten on a whole nother level with Azza, but that's for another day. But the way, there's so much to talk about here. Fucking Shadal's got the reprints. Construct Gotti's errata? Question mark? I believe Construct has been errated. If I've heard a lot of people talk about, well, Construct's not going to come back off the ban list. Konami did not errata him for him to come back, right? Right? Well, don't be shocked if you don't see Construct come back off of the next list, but don't be shocked if you do see him come off. This is another one of those, you can have your cake and eat it, or you can have your errata and not have it unbanned. I've seen some shady shit in this game, and Construct receiving the errata and not being unbanned would be some other shit. So when you look at Valhalla and you're like, oh man, Ash Blossom's gonna be a short print, lol. Just remember, you could have had your cake in the Megatins that you were already gonna buy and ate it and enjoyed it. But instead, Konami's like, gonna need you to buy some Valhalla really quick if you want those Ash Blossom reprints. Now, I'm still on the fence here. I could still smell Ash Blossom in the Megatins. You guys smell that, right? That's called double standard. Ugh, fucking, what's that, Robbie? Well, you see, young dueler, that's where Konami says, you spent all your money on the Megatins, or you were planning to, well, give it to us in Valhalla now, and the Megatins come out, and you're like, oh wait, they did reprint it in here too. Well, why did I spend all my money on Valhalla? Gotcha. Like, that's what I feel is going to happen. We'll have to wait and see. There's just too much here at this point in time. Like, good job, Konami. You've put up the first red flag for people not to want to buy Megatins by reprinting Ash Blossom and fucking the fucking Valhalla set. Really? Like, what were you thinking? That's just terrible decision making. Nobody fucking pre-ordered Valhalla. Like, so if Ash Blossom has the secret printing and the ultra printing, and the ultra printing's like $45, you push it as a super. Are those supers going to be $15, $20? Like, even if it's one per box? Can I buy a box of Valhalla and potentially pull multiple Ash Blossoms and do A-okay? Is there something I'm missing here? Hello? Financial advisors, if you're watching this video, is Valhalla a good investment? Well, nobody responded, so I guess Valhalla is going to be a shit set no matter what. Once again, having your cake and eating your cake and just having cake and not eating your cake are two completely different things. All right, Konami, I understand you know you're going to sell the Megatins, so you take out the most desired card and you fucking put it over here in the corner. And you're like, sorry, guys. Sorry. What the fuck are the promos going to be this year in the Megatins if they've done this? Evenly matched? Like, I don't know what I'm missing here, but there's just this big question mark above my head. And I'm not exactly sure what's going on at the moment. Like, eep. On a sudden note, remember, if you go to Worlds, you need to have a demeanor about yourself. You need to not do some stupid shit. Shout out to the story that's going around this week in the Yu-Gi-Oh community. You know, don't say things you're going to regret. Don't do things you're going to regret. And remember, Worlds is the highest caliber of play in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh. You know, present yourself in a decent demeanor. You know, you can't do dumb shit. You know, especially in this game. Also, shout out to how Worlds ended as well. And the match procedures are great, Konami. You've made a great decision. And I'm sure all of my viewers out there listening to fucking the Robbie podcast right now will absolutely agree with me. Konami, you know what? We should just make games of Yu-Gi-Oh! 1 out of 1, make them 10-minute rounds, and it'll be great. We'll call it Yu-Gi-Oh! 4. You know, coming this fall. You know, 2018. I hope you guys are ready. Yu-Gi-Oh! 4 is coming. You all thought fucking speed dueling was great. Nah, man. Yu-Gi-Oh! 2 was very real. Yu-Gi-Oh! 3 still in designs, but we're going to release beta Yu-Gi-Oh! 4. 10-minute rounds, 1 out of 1. If your opponent takes the whole time to take their turn, I'm sorry, thanks for coming. It'll be the quickest tournament you've ever been through. That's all I got for this video! Thanks, Konami, for ruining the Megatins this year. I didn't want to, you know, open up a large amount of product and have a good time, you know, watching people pull all these firewall dragons and things like that. You know, it's not like people really cared or anything, or, you know, or people wanted Ash Blossoms to be massively available. I mean, fuck the player base, am I right? Like, How dare they want cheap, affordable cards? Fucking joke's on us, right? Yeah. Spoiler, Ash Blossom's probably going to get limited if it gets the double standard reprint.